Have you ever looked at someone and felt something shift, but you couldn't explain what it was? Maybe it was a text that made your chest feel warm for no reason. Maybe it was a silence between you two that didn't feel awkward at all. It felt safe. If you have ever wondered whether what you are feeling for someone is turning into something deeper, something real, then this video is going to answer that question for you. Using real psychology, not guesswork. Stay until the end because the sixth sign is the one almost nobody notices until it is already happening to them. Before we go further, if you are someone who loves understanding the human mind, relationships, and the quiet patterns behind our emotions, hit that subscribe button right now. This channel, Psychotherapy, is built for people exactly like you. People who want to understand why they feel what they feel. It takes 2 seconds, and it means you will never miss a video like this one again. Now let's talk about love. Real love, the kind that lasts, almost never begins with fireworks. Movies have lied to us for decades. They show two people locking eyes across a room and suddenly falling in love in an instant. But psychologists who study attachment and human bonding will tell you something very different. Love, the durable kind. The kind that survives arguments and bad days and boring Tuesdays. Usually creeps in quietly. It shows up in small, almost invisible signals long before either person is ready to say the word out loud. Today we are going to walk through 6 of those silent signs, one by one, so that you can recognize them in your own life. Whether it is happening to you right now, or whether you are simply curious about the person you have been thinking about since this video started playing. The first sign is this. You start noticing their small habits, and instead of feeling annoyed, you feel a strange kind of fondness. Think about it. In the beginning stages of getting to know someone, we tend to notice big things. Their job, their looks, their sense of humor, the way they carry themselves in a room. But somewhere along the way, something shifts. You start noticing the tiny things instead. The way they always order the same drink. The way they tap their fingers when they are thinking. The way they laugh a little too loud at their own jokes. Psychologists call this a shift in attentional focus. And it matters more than people realize. When your brain starts paying attention to someone's small, unremarkable behaviors, and instead of being indifferent to them, you find them charming. That is not a coincidence. That is your brain quietly building a mental map of this person, cataloging them as someone important. We do not memorize the habits of strangers. We memorize the habits of people who matter to us. If you find yourself smiling at the way someone stirs their coffee or mispronounces a word every single time, some part of you has already decided this person is not just anyone. The second sign is a little harder to notice because it does not feel dramatic at all. It is comfort in silence. Early in any relationship, whether romantic or not, silence tends to feel heavy. We rush to fill it. We ask questions, we crack jokes. We check our phones because quiet moments feel uncomfortable when we do not know someone well. But something changes when a connection starts turning into love. The silence stops feeling like a gap that needs to be filled. It starts feeling like a shared space you are both comfortable occupying. You can sit next to this person, say nothing for 10 minutes, and still feel completely at ease. Attachment researchers describe this as a marker of psychological safety. Our nervous system only relaxes into silence with people it does not perceive as a threat. And more importantly, with people it trusts will not judge the empty space between words. If you have ever sat with someone in total quiet and felt nothing but peace, that is not boredom. That is your body telling you it feels safe enough to simply exist next to this person without performing. The third sign is one that shows up in your daily thoughts, and it is more revealing than most people realize. You start narrating your day to them in your head, even when they are not there. You see something funny on the street, and you immediately think, they would love this. You read a strange news headline, and your first instinct is to send it to them. You have a bad day, and somewhere in the back of your mind, you are already composing the message you will send them about it tonight. This behavior has a name in psychology. It is sometimes referred to as cognitive inclusion, which basically means someone has become part of how you process your own experiences. Your brain has started treating them as a permanent audience member in your internal world, even when they are nowhere near you physically. This is a significant marker because it shows that this person has moved from being someone you interact with occasionally to someone your mind automatically includes in nearly everything you experience. When someone becomes part of your internal narration, that is not casual interest. That is emotional integration. And it usually happens long before you consciously admit your feelings have changed. If these signs are sounding familiar so far, I want you to do something small for me. Drop a comment below and tell me which sign you related to the most. It genuinely helps this channel grow. And I read every single comment, so do not be shy. The fourth sign is protective instinct. And this one tends to surprise people because it can feel intense even before any label has been placed on the relationship. You notice that when someone speaks badly about this person, even in a joking way, something in you tightens. You feel an urge to defend them, to correct the record, to make sure people see them the way you see them. This is not jealousy, and it is not possessiveness. Evolutionary psychologists explain that protective instinct is one of the earliest indicators of pair bonding in humans. Historically, protecting someone required real investment of energy and risk. So our brains only activate that instinct for people who feel important to our future, not for strangers or casual acquaintances. If you find yourself becoming quietly defensive of someone, correcting rumors about them, or feeling uneasy when they are treated unfairly, some part of your brain has already filed them under the category of mind to protect. That classification does not happen randomly. It happens when a connection is deepening into something that feels worth safeguarding. The fifth sign is subtle, but once you notice it, you will not be able to unsee it in your own life. It is the shrinking of your future plans to include them, even in casual conversation. Listen closely to how you speak when this person comes up. Do you say things like, "We should go there sometime," or "You would like this place, we should check it out together"? These small verbal slips matter enormously. Psychologists who study language patterns in relationships point out that the words we use reveal assumptions we are not even consciously aware of making. When someone unconsciously starts using we language in future tense language about someone, their brain has already started building a version of the future that includes this person as a default character, not an optional guest. This is very different from simply enjoying someone's company today. It reflects a deeper, quieter assumption that this person belongs in your life going forward, and that assumption usually forms before either person says anything about how they feel. Now here is the sixth sign, the one I promised you at the beginning, and it is the one that almost nobody notices happening to them in real time. The sixth sign is this: your definition of a good day quietly starts to include them. Think back to before you knew this person. A good day probably meant good weather, good food, a productive afternoon, maybe some alone time to recharge. But somewhere along the way, something shifts. Now a good day is not complete unless you talk to them, even briefly. A great meal feels slightly incomplete if you did not get to tell them about it. An accomplishment feels smaller until you have shared it with them. This is one of the clearest markers psychologists point to when studying emotional bonding, because it shows that someone has moved from being an addition to your life to becoming a baseline requirement for your sense of satisfaction. Humans are remarkably adaptable creatures. We recalibrate our expectations constantly, often without noticing. When your brain quietly redefines happiness or fulfillment to require this person's presence, even in small ways, it means the connection has crossed from casual into something your emotional system now depends on. This sign is the hardest to catch because it does not feel like a dramatic realization. It feels like normal life. You simply wake up one day and realize that this person has become part of the architecture of your happiness, not an accessory to it. So why do these six signs matter so much? Because love, the real and lasting kind, rarely announces itself with certainty. It does not arrive with a neon sign or a dramatic confession. It arrives quietly, through attention, through comfort in silence, through the small habit of narrating your life to someone in your head, through protective instinct, through future language, and through a shift in what makes a day feel complete. Psychology tells us that these signals are often more reliable than intense infatuation, because infatuation is driven largely by novelty and unpredictability, while these six signs are driven by something steadier, something built on safety, familiarity, and genuine emotional investment. Infatuation burns bright and fast, but these quiet signs are the foundation of connections that actually last. If you recognized even 3 or 4 of these signs in your own life, I want you to think about someone specific right now. Maybe their name is already in your head. If it is, that is not a coincidence, and it is worth paying attention to. Our minds are usually more honest than our words. And sometimes the clearest way to understand our own feelings is to simply notice the quiet patterns we already live inside. Every single day, before you go, I have 3 quick things to ask of you. First, if this video helped you understand your own feelings a little better, please share it with someone who needs to hear this today. Maybe a friend who keeps asking whether their feelings are real. Second, drop a comment telling me which of these 6 signs hit closest to home for you. I promise I will be reading through them. And third, if you have not already, subscribe to this channel, Psychotherapy, because we release videos just like this one every single week, breaking down the quiet psychology behind love, connection, and human behavior in ways that actually make sense. There is one more thing I want to leave you with before this video ends. Something most people never stop to consider. The people who end up building the strongest relationships are rarely the ones who felt the most dramatic spark at the very beginning. They are usually the ones who paid attention to these quiet signs early enough to nurture them, instead of dismissing them as nothing. So the next time you notice yourself smiling at someone's small habits, or feeling strangely at peace in their silence, do not brush it off as insignificant. Pay attention. Your mind is trying to tell you something it already understands, long before your heart is ready to say it out loud. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. If you want more videos exactly like this one, breaking down real psychology behind everyday emotions, make sure you are subscribed to Psychotherapy. Turn on notifications so you never miss the next one. And I will see you in the very next video.